Ooh. The camera's on, isn't it? Whoops. Hey guys, Doug, D Music Reviews, back with another review. Before I get into it, I just checked, and this is actually like my 1 year anniversary doing reviews. I know it's the 9th of August for me at the very least. I don't know if it is for some other people. I don't see why it wouldn't be. But I started doing reviews, my very first review, which was with Dark Water, which is still on the page. You can still go and check it out. I have never deleted a review. I did that back in August 08 of 2010. So yeah, I've been doing this for reviews for a year, and I've only packed out about 20, so that's pretty pathetic. But oh well. The band I'm going to review right now is called Mercyful Fate, which will be a familiar name to a lot of people. Yesterday I did my review of King Diamond, who is the lead singer of Mercyful Fate. Mercyful Fate were one of the most popular bands in metal starting up. They started up in 1981 and subsequently stopped in 1985, but then began again in 1992 before stopping again in 1999. The reason they stopped in 1985 was actually because of personal issues within the band and professional issues and attitudes. I think it was the lead guitarist started changing the way his musical perception. I mean, Mercyful Fate is a pretty extreme Danish metal band, extreme heavy metal, first wave of black metal sort of thing. And the guitarist started going for a more sort of pop influenced sound, especially the lyrics and the music. So King Diamond just said, no, we're not going to do this anymore. This isn't what Mercyful Fate's about, so we're just going to stop it and not tarnish its name. So a lot of respect to him for doing that, actually. Stopping a band for that reason. Although I think it was the right thing to do. But anyway, Mercyful Fate have been a very influential band for a lot of different other bands, including actually Metallica. Metallica, I think it was in their Garage Inc. I think that's what it was called album. They actually did a song called Mercyful Fate. I'm sure they did a song called Mercyful Fate somewhere. They were very heavily influenced by Mercyful Fate. Although, to be honest, I can't really tell. The two bands are completely different, in my opinion, other than that they play in metal. But at the Ozfest 2009, I think it was, they actually got King Diamond on stage to do some songs with them. Covering some of the first Mercyful Fate songs, actually. And that's the album, and they're from the album I'm going to be covering now, which is called Melissa. Now, Melissa was released in 1983, it was their very first album. It was released under Roadrunner, actually. I think it was the first album Roadrunner actually ever released. I'm not entirely sure, I can't really remember. But this was the first album ever created, and this was a big album for them. Back at this point, Mercyful Fate and King Diamond in particular, he was very big on Satan. If you go back and watch any interviews from around this time, you can tell he was quite a full-on Satanist. But, I mean, he's cleared up a lot about Satanism, not that Christians usually listen, but he was a Levian Satanism. A Levian Satanist, Jesus Christ. Which basically means that he believed that he himself was Satan. It means that he basically worshipped himself and did whatever he wanted to do within the law. So he actually created a huge sort of wave of Satanists and satanic interest. So, thanks, brother, you know. But anyway, besides that, this is a 7-track affair. Don't really know where to start on this album. It starts with Evil, the first song on it, which kind of sets the tone for the entire album. The production on this, considering it was so early, I mean 1983 didn't have the best equipment or technology, so it's actually kind of, the volume isn't as high as it should be, and this is on the entire album, I think. Just high production values, and it's kind of, some of the instruments aren't as loud as others, and it's just sort of masks them. But other than that, there isn't really too much bad to say about this album. I suppose it depends on your views. But in my view, this is a very, very solid album, and it's probably the best alongside Don't Break the Oath Mercyful Fate album. Evil starts out, and that sets the tone for the entire album, and Evil is one of the best songs on this. In fact, I'll post that below so people can have a little look at it. But Evil is sort of, it's kind of speed metal influenced in a way, but not really. The guitars shine through on this more than anything, really. But the guitars and the drumming often complement each other. It's as if the guitars and the drums actually have a battle to see who can lead the most. So the guitars and the drums in this and throughout the entire album are one of the biggest things, one of the best things. Very good guitars, very good drummers, including bass guitar. And then comes in the vocalist, King Diamond. And this was a huge shake-up in terms of singing around the world, because nobody had ever heard this sort of style. And King Diamond's style is very high-pitched sort of screams, but he does also go very low-pitched, not growls, just low-pitched tones. And not low-pitched screams, but I don't really know what to tell them, what to call them. I'm trying to name his vocal techniques, but I can't. This was just so original at this point. Nobody had ever heard anything like this before. So though Mercyful Fate became very famous, there were a lot of people that shunned it because at the time it was just too different. It just broke boundaries for music and metal in itself. Mainly around the vocals, but also the lyrical themes. There had been bands that had sung about Satanism before, but never full-on 100% Satanism, because this album basically is. Every single song on this pertains somewhat to religious aspects, mainly Satanists. So yeah, there's even a song on this called Satan's Fall, track 6, which is a very sort of different song from everything else on this. I'll also link that below. In fact, no I won't. You can go and check that out yourselves, you lazy shits. But this entire album was a huge breakthrough for music. King Diamond knew what he wanted to do with this band, and he did it well. If you don't like Satanism, if you don't like hearing about it, if you don't like religion, this album won't be for you. And the production is kind of grey, but that's considering the time frame it sort of had to be. That's the best there was. But this album was a huge breakthrough for music, and it's still one of the best albums. It's considered a very good classic nowadays, especially by me as well. Like I said, I can't really say anything bad about this album, and I can't really say anything good. Not because there's nothing good about it, but because it's hard to pinpoint really what they are. This album is chock full of different influences, different sounds, variations and techniques in playing and singing. King Diamond's vocal range is probably one of the biggest I've ever seen. That guy he can explore his vocals like nobody else. So yeah, I'm actually struggling to review this because it's complex. It's a very complex album, and there was just nothing like it at all. Also, just a little bit of trivia. Melissa, they actually ended up naming a skull after it. If you don't know King Diamond, he usually has, rather than having a black pole or a microphone, he has a little handheld. Right now it's a wooden cross, a bone cross. But at the time he actually used a person's skull, like a real-life human skull, which he used to have a microphone in. Or either that or it was upside down and it had like a bone going upwards to the microphone. I can't really remember. But I actually named the skull after this album because it was so popular, because it was so good. But that's not really important. But yeah, this album for me is one of the best albums ever made. I absolutely adore this album, and I think a lot of people out there will too. Although there are people, like I said in my King Diamond review, who will be put off largely, mainly just by King Diamond's vocals. I was speaking to my good friend Vargo Lumberjack, link below, fantastic reviewer on YouTube, go and check him out. He actually doesn't really like it because he thinks, a guy shouldn't be able to sing that high, and he's just sort of put off because it doesn't suit a guy's voice, which is understandable. But like I said, King Diamond broke barriers when it come to male vocal range. He sings so high. It's as if he has no balls, but he does. I would have guessed. I don't really know. But yeah, this album broke barriers for music in itself. It really changed music. And I need to take some water. I've got a throat infection. And this album in itself is just fantastic. Not just for that reason, but this sort of named and showed a lot of things that Mercyful Fate had coming to it, and that was a lot of success, and it was a very different step in music than any other band had really taken at this point, and a very different step that even bands now take, because it's quite a risky one to do, it's quite a risky one to pull off. But yeah, this album, absolutely fantastic. I love this album. I'm really having a lot of trouble actually trying to sing about it. Sing about it? Why did I just say sing? Talk about it. Because it's a very complex album, it was so different, and I think I've reiterated that point anyway. So all I can say is go and check it out. There'll be a link to Evil below, which is the first track, and is a good track to start on, considering it's the beginning. So go and check that out. There will be a lot of people out there that will be put off by this, but there will also be a lot of people that actually really enjoy this. So if you haven't heard of Mercyful Fate, go and check it out. I think it's something that you might like. That's all I've really got to say. I can't say much more about this album. If anybody else has reviewed this album and you know about it, let me know so I can link them below, because maybe they'll probably explain this album and the artist a bit better than I can. But in itself, fantastic artist, fantastic album, 5 fucking golden stars from me. I love this album. Please go and check it out. Sorry for the bad review. You probably didn't like it, but I know that a lot of you will really like this album. So please go and check it out. King Diamond, Melissa, 1983. Thanks for watching.